Hello and welcome to Immortal Behaviour for this week.
Many ways to win a game. Get your team home as a halfback. He won the game with his kicking game.
Andrew kicks back and across. It has been a freakish kick by Andrew Johns.
I thought he'd maybe retire, but forgive me, Father, for I have said.
Maybe God has come to Marathon.
Well, welcome to another episode of Immortal Behaviour, brought to you by The Tab. Good to see you, Joey.
Thank you.
You can tell it's getting into finals, deep into the finals. Look how well dressed you
I
are.
just decided I've got to stop dressing like a 21-year-old skateboarder.
So what do you call this look? CEO.
Stiff.
Stiff.
Don't worry, I've got to do something after this. This is why I'm wearing this.
Oh,
fruit.
little secret.
Yeah.
All right, so don't forget as well, you can head to the website below for your chance to win a VIP Melbourne Cup experience. We'll be bringing you all the Melbourne Cup action. Are you going down to the Cup?
No, not this year.
Maybe next year.
Maybe.
We should get a whole group of us together because I feel like this year we all planned it a little too late. Everyone's got holidays.
Well, I think one of our esteemed commentator is riding a horse.
Billy Slater.
Billy, it's out.
Oh, maybe it's not.
To interviews the jockeys after they.
Yeah. Billy loves it.
Billy on a big horse, and then you got Freddie coming around on a Shetland pony.
What would be if you had to? If they asked you, they said, "Oh, Joey, want you to be part of the Melbourne Cup coverage." What would your role be?
I'll be in the birdcage, just interviewing people from marquee to marquee.
Doing fashions in the field.
And as it gets later in the day, it just gets looser and looser and looser.
Who would be? Who do you reckon would
Brendan
be?
Favour, I'll interview him, and then Wayne Carey, I'll get hold of him. Willie Mason, I'm sure he's down there. I'll get hold of him. Actually, Willie Mason and Brendan Favour look very similar.
Yeah, they do. Both. You could pick them out of the crowd very
Both
quickly.
relatives.
Yeah. All right. Well, of course, we are looking forward to the Melbourne Cup. But before that, we've got plenty of footy to get through. So let's talk about one of the big issues that's divided a lot of opinion this week. There's some people who are very fired up about this. You were fired up on the other side yesterday on Fred in the 8th about Kalyn Ponga pulling the pin on Kangaroos' Australian selection for the upcoming Pacific Championships.
And this is not just because Kalyn is for the Knights. Let me put that out there. I'm not biased at all. I'm not on the side of Newcastle. And he could be playing for St George Illawarra, but I would go as hard. Because it's his decision to stand down. His decision, he wants to have a full off season. He's been on record saying he wants to win a comp at Newcastle. So him not playing the Kangaroos means he gets back to training early November. If he plays the Pacific Bowl, he won't get back to training late January. So if I'm a player who's playing with Kalyn, it'd just inspire me to get back and really rip into training. Look, the way it was done, he should have done it better. Number one, he should have called Mal. That's the big one. And number two, he released the statement. Someone from within the Knights had to look at that statement and you can tell I'm corporate, do a risk assessment and talk about consequence about how it's going to come out and how it's going to be perceived. Someone had to be across. There's a clause in the contract which says he has to make himself available for rep footy if he's fit and ready to play. It's been handled poorly. And it's someone's job within the Knights organisation to be across this.
And so do you feel like Kalyn has now been hung out to dry because of the way that it was handled?
I don't think he's been hung out to dry. I just think it looks poor. It looks poor form where he didn't talk to Mal before it. I understand he spoke to Mal yesterday and cleared the air, but it should have been done, and this sort of thing I think should be done face to face, not over the phone. So in hindsight's a lovely thing. I think if Kalyn picked up the phone, or better still, came down to Sydney town, sat down with Mal and just said, look, these are the reasons why I don't want to play X, Y, Z. I think Mal still have his player's hat on would totally understand it. He'd be disappointed, but it's done the right way. What I'm disappointed is someone within the Knights had to look at the statement that's gone out and go, hang on, this doesn't look well because of X, Y, Z. These are the consequences. Righto, let's get together. Okay, let's make up a story saying he's got a sore ankle and needs a clean out or something like that. I know it's telling fibs, but it's a way to protect your star player.
See, I don't agree with the because I think that will get you in more trouble with
And
the
I
lying of it.
understand
But I
if
think
he
he's got.
said he had to clean out and someone saw him down the beach.
Yeah, but
surfing
I
or
think that
something.
he has enough grounds to say he had a large stint of the season out with a Lisfranc injury in his foot. He needs to. That might not be 100% healed. Who knows
for
what the
instance,
situation
if
is?
Kalyn came out and said, "Look, I'm a bit flat," some of the organisation's got to go, mate. It won't look good because you've only played 12 games this
Correct,
year. So
yeah.
that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
What's your excuse? Well, I want to get back early. I want to do this.
And that's the
Righto,
thing.
if
I
that's
think,
what you want to do,
and that's yeah.
come out and explain that.
I think the truth is enough in this situation. The fact that the season is such a long season. He missed a large chunk due to injury. He wants to get himself right for the club who he plays for, who pay his money. If you're a Newcastle Knights fan,
the Knights pay him.
exactly.
And look, the statement was written, I understand, by his dad Andre, along with KP, but that's not their expertise. Once again, someone within the Knights had to look at it and say, let's change this, let's change this, let's change this to protect your Kalyn. But anyway,
Well,
he's made his decision. And talk of banning him from the start of the season.
surely that's
Absolutely
ridiculous.
ridiculous. That won't happen.
You do have to think about how long ago the season started.
How long ago they start training? They start training in early November. They've been going 1 year. Cameron Smith told me he played 37 games. They're not machines, and to get yourself ready to play, especially these big games, and wind yourself up, and if you don't get yourself revved up, you can get hurt out there. It's a scary place.
And
Let
also
me tell you,
too-
middle of the field, it's a scary place.
It's also too potentially prolonging his entire career.
Totally.
You keep your body. Well, maybe that could be a new job for you. Maybe you should go in and be a risk assessment,
HR.
media, communications, and with your.
Not sitting in an office dressed like this.
You're enjoying it.
Not really.
All right, let's move on. Roosters v Storm. We cannot wait for this one. The hoodoo, it runs deep for the Roosters. How does Trent Robinson and his side flip the script heading into Friday?
Well, it's not up to Trent Robinson, it's up to the players. Trent can prepare his players the best he can motivate them, he can have a theme of the week, they can watch Rocky movies leading into it, they can do all this, but it's up to the players for that 80 minutes, it's up to them to flip the script, it's up to the players. And Trent Robinson will have them prepared, they'll be ready to go, it's up to the players.
Is there a weakness in the Melbourne Storm that you think that the Roosters can exploit?
Not really. There's no real weakness. They're pretty much at full strength and they're fresh. The key to winning big games is just pressure. If you apply pressure, then teams or players can crack under pressure. I think a good example was Manly against the Bulldogs the last 8 minutes where Cherry Evans put the masterclass on. Coming out of trouble, there was just some drop balls because of pressure. It can make players or teams, it can make them crack. But there's no real weakness in the Melbourne Storm, and they are so well prepared. They are so well coached. They know how to win big games. Going down there, it's very difficult.
And the fact that the amount of strength that they have in their team, you look at their halves alone, but is there shutting down one player in particular that's going to be the key?
No,
Like, is it?
because if you concentrate on Munster,
Then
you've got Harry
Jerome.
Green at a dummy half. If you concentrate on Jerome Hughes' running game on the right side, that frees up Munster, and then Pappenhausen's sniffing around. One thing about Melbourne's back rowers and the way they're coached, they can isolate halves like no other team. And Keary on Storm's right with Katoa, and then Sandon Smith 2 weeks ago against
Penrith?
Penrith, he missed 10 tackles. So that's Sean Blaw's side. They're just going to pep up. And then in the middle, they got Connor Watson, and they got 4 big boppers on the bench. So Connor's going to have to play 80. Connor Watson will be above 60 tackles. They will just get at Connor to try to dull his effectiveness in attack. But the Storm, they will pepper the halves and also Connor.
So if you're coaching the Roosters,
Yeah.
what's your game? Like, what's your attacking?
Well, you can't beat the Melbourne Storm with structured play. They defend too well. They scramble. They're so well at defending structure. Last week against Manly, the Roosters made 15 offloads. That's the way to play Melbourne. Offload the ball, ad-lib footy. But if you drop the ball, they suffocate you. It's a fine line. I'd be kicking early. I'd be concentrating on the first 15 minutes of the game, trying to build that pressure. Every time you get to your own 40-metre mark, kick. That was one of the triggers in my head when I was playing big games. Once you get to your own 40, coming out of trouble, it might be on play 3, might be on play 4, just kick. Kick it, win the battle of field position and apply pressure.
Are you heading down for this game? No. Melbourne's going to be, it's a public holiday on the Friday. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere all around the city.
The AFL's on
No, I think it's Saturday afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a big weekend.
Yes, we cannot wait for it. You'll be at a core on
Saturday. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, that'll be a good game too.
But I understand, we are going to talk about Cronulla.
Yes, very shortly. But before we get on to that, the Tab Eras debate this week. We're talking grand final entertainment. This year, it's Kid Leroy playing on grand final day. You had a dream about him last night.
I had a dream about him. Don't worry,
did you know that we were doing this?
No. Oh, well, I think we were talking about him yesterday on Friday the 8th. Kid, it was all rated G. I was taking you surfing, and I know you had your Rabbitohs cap on, because I didn't know he was born and bred in Redfern.
Yeah.
Which is
South
a great
fan.
story. South fan, and I took Kid surfing, and he was a bit of a goop.
Oh, really?
Having the dreams.
Yeah, okay. I wonder whether he's ever, Maroubra.
I don't think he's Redfern. He's a Redfern boy. It's a great story, bud. I don't know, for some reason I thought he was from WA.
No.
Anyway.
Well, we're excited to see that on Grand Final Day. How far do you think Grand Final Day has come? Like Grand Final Day entertainment, the show that they put on.
Remember they had the marching bands, and then they had the mascots fighting each other. And then we had Billy Idol, whose power went out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's really good, but I go there to watch the footy.
You don't enjoy the...
Well, half time, you're going to the Brasco, or you're going to get a beer.
Yeah, it's different from commentary box, because on sideline we get to sort of... Freddie's always up there, he's always dancing.
Yeah. I'd love for one day to get ACDC or...
Who would be your absolute highlight?
Well, great to get Oasis back.
Yeah.
They're formed back together, and the guy that owns the Warrington Wolves, the club I played a guest stint for, Simon Moran, he's part of the package that's put them back together. He thinks they might be coming down to Australia at the end of next year.
Ooh.
So we might get them next year for the grand final.
You should speak to
If not,
Simon.
Uncle Joey will take Liam out. How's that? Me and Liam let loose in Sydney. What could possibly go wrong?
How do you think that would go?
Oh, it'd be fun.
Where would you start?
I don't know. I'm more worried about
where you'd end.
No, not where it would finish. When it would finish. Those days are gone.
Yes, they are. You. All right, let's talk about that. I would pay to see that one. Penrith.
The Daily Telegraph.
Yes, the paparazzi in Sydney, they'd be all over it. You'd have to go to your local haunts where they protect you a little bit.
I'd go to the Burwood Inn, Newcastle, back to the zoo. Nothing gets out.
Oh, really? That's locked and loaded?
Yeah.
Is it the security guards who you know?
No, it's just the walls don't talk.
All right, let's talk about Sharks Penrith on Saturday afternoon. So it's going to be pretty wet this whole weekend in Sydney. So it's going to be freezing in Melbourne on Friday night.
Out Friday.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that Accor Stadium tends to drain pretty well? But do you think that'll have an impact?
Well, I think it's going to be really windy over the weekend, which may dry it out. But they haven't got a great record in the wet Penrith, but the way they're playing, once again, that word pressure, they'll sit on you and sit on you and sit on you, and sometimes they won't blink. The ball can be in play for 8-9 minutes. They just keep applying pressure. So
because there was that game.
There's some injuries.
Yeah, but there was that game that Penrith played in the wet against Parramatta at Combank Stadium. Do you remember that one where it absolutely poured just before kick-off?
Well, I think back the year they lost the
World
Club
Challenge
against St Helens, couple of years ago at Bathurst, they lost against the West Tigers in the wet.
Well, this one they nearly lost, but then remember they scored 3 tries in the last 5 minutes or something.
I can't remember that one.
And then came home
But I think it'll be
and
different.
it was Gutho's kick, and it just went
Oh,
yes,
that was a penalty.
yeah,
I can remember the kick.
yeah.
Poor old kick.
Yeah, but they won that, but Parramatta were in front. So who do you think if it's raining, it's...
Well, I just think it suits Penrith. I worry about Cronulla where their points are going to come from, especially with there's talk that Ramian and Kalyn won't play. And there's big doubts over Sione Katoa. So I'd say Talakai will go in the centres, and then I worry where their points are going to come from. Once again, it's up to Trindle. He's got to have another storm, absolute storm.
Are you expecting him to?
I don't know. I'd like to see it because I really enjoy watching him play. I love the way he's built his game over the last couple of years. I know there's been some talk about my comments about if he was off contract, he'd be on 800 or 900. I stand by that. If he was on the open market, there's no real halves around, ready to go. And some of our top halves are coming to the end. Daly Cherry Evans is in his mid-30s. And with more teams coming into the comp in the next couple of years, far out he can name his own price because he's a dominant halfback who can do it all. Organised, he's got a running game, his kicking game, his defence is sound. So, geez, if he was on the open market, he might even get more.
If he stays at Cronulla, so if they lock him up, how does the team fit next year? Does he move into...
Nico's playing like a 5'8". He did on the weekend, even though the numbers on his back. And you have a look at how many touches Braden Trindle had. It was far superior than what he's been doing mid-year or the start of the year. So he's the dominant halfback, and I think Nico all along, that's his best position, 5'8". Yeah. So moving forward, that's going to be your halves.
Would there be? I have a feeling now. I could have dreamt this one. Has there been talk that? Has there been talk that Nico could potentially play fullback?
I don't see him as a fullback. No, I don't think he's got the zip to be a fullback. He may have had it 5-6 years ago when he was at the Storm, but no, I don't see him making an impact at fullback. I think 5'8's his spot.
What about if you're Craig Fitzgibbon this week? Your team's going in to probably the toughest, one of the toughest opponents, one or two.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you build them up? How do you?
I don't know. Once again, it's not up to the coach.
It's the playing group.
It's the senior players because the young guys are going to go in, and the older guys or the more experienced guys have got to make the younger players believe. It's all right for Fitzy to get up there and talk to his blue in the face, but it's got to come from the senior players to grab the younger players and go, no, we're right here. You come along with us. And that's how you win big games. Your senior players are upbeat.
When you look at Cronulla, who are those senior players? Because they obviously lost a lot.
Cameron McInnes would be one. I'm just off the top of my head. I'm just trying to... He's definitely one. I don't really know off the top of my head. I think Braden Trindle. I don't know whether he's vocal at training and team meetings. But off the top of my head, I'd say Cameron McInnes would be the one, especially in the forward pack. And he leads by example anyway. Geez, his head when he finishes is just going to be just a smorgasbord of scar tissue. He must have tissue.
I would love to count how many stitches he's had in his face.
But it's up to the senior players to drag the young blokes along. Then they're under no pressure. Last week against Cowboys, they were under all the pressure, and they got the job done. So this week, all the pressure's on Penrith. But with Penrith, the bigger the game, the more pressure, the better they go, because they've done it before.
So if on Saturday night Penrith are well and truly ahead with say 20 minutes to go, if you're Ivan Cleary, would you be taking some of your stars off?
Well, once again, they've picked Schneider on the bench. So does that say that Nathan still isn't 100% with his shoulder, which is probably yes. And Nathan doesn't know how to play in a dinner suit. So if they go to a big lead, I'll be taking Nathan off for sure. Because I understand he'll be getting a shoulder reconstruction, so he won't be playing for Australia at the end of the year. So really, Nathan's got 2 more games to go. But with Schneider being on the bench, I think shows their hand that Nathan still is there's a worry about his fitness.
Well, if they do release that statement about Nathan not being available for Pacific Championships, we might get you to run your eye over it.
Hashtag call Mal.
All right, well, thanks so much for your company today, and we'll catch you over the weekend for all the footy action.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights, action, 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour, grab a seat on the couch for that. And of course, my favourite, Freddie in the A.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm, subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.